This is the Brown Boy Wonders podcast.
Hey guys, it's the Brown Boy Wonders podcast. In today's episode, it's all about Week 3 NFL football and my Jets. But without further ado, let me introduce my special guest here. I usually lose to FIFA to him all the time. I might consider him as the FIFA king, but here's Misbah. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing well, man. How about you?
I'm good, man. Introduce yourself to the world. What you been doing?
Hey, my name's Misbah, just from the 305 from Miami, so I've been pretty hyped about this Miami Dolphins season. But yeah,
All right.
uh how are the Jets going, man? That's the real question.
Well, first of all, let's not go in there first. Let's talk
All right.
about the happy part. Let's talk about
All
Miami
right, all right.
Dolphins. You're
Man, that
yeah.
game, I don't know, man. 70 points in one game was wild. And especially looking at the team itself, it's just so well constructed, I think, where we have the offensive lines playing really well. The wide receivers, obviously, we have some of the fastest core. And even our running backs, our backup, I think, scored like 4 touchdowns. It's a really great time to be a Miami Dolphins fan, you know?
Who was been killing it. Your Tyreek Hill's been killing it. But
hmm
I feel bad for the freaking Broncos and Russell Wilson.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know if it's really his fault. I mean, that game, like, I never really, this entire season, Russell Wilson hasn't been playing terrible football. It's just the defense, I think, was just getting beat on every play, especially in the run game, where no matter what they did, there was just such a gaping hole for the running backs to run through. I mean, I give credit to our offensive line. Terran Armstead came back from injury; he was really playing really well. But
Mhm.
man, I don't know what's going on with that defense. And then Vance Joseph, the defensive coordinator. I don't know how long they can afford to keep him the way they've been playing.
Your freaking Mike White or former Jet Mike White made a touchdown, or I don't know how many touchdowns he made, like two or three.
Yeah, for Jets legend, man. He had 1 touchdown in the air, yeah. But yeah, we were scoring in every possible direction, and that was funny enough that passed it to one of the former all I don't know if he was all pro, but I remember he did really well with the Panthers, Robbie Anderson. He
Yeah,
changed his name a couple of times, but I think it's not like Robbie Chosen or something, but he beat Patrick Surtain on a play, and Patrick Surtain's supposed to be like all pro, at least from last couple of seasons. So that was pretty great to watch. To see even our bench is playing that well.
your bench is doing well. Your starters are doing well. Your freaking your head coach. He went. I saw a picture. He went to the stands. I don't know if that was like.
No, I think so. I think what happened was that there was another person dressed up as Mike Daniel, and it was kind of like a
Oh,
parody thing. But yeah, it was kind of funny to see him like going in the stands and trying to make plays for the to the audience. But yeah, I think it was someone dressed up as him. But
okay,
yeah,
but
at that point, I would have believed it the way they were playing. You could have just went to the audience and asked them to make a play themselves, the
that'd be
way they
pretty
were
cool.
blowing up the game.
that'd,
For sure, for sure.
that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, what's next for the Broncos? You think?
Broncos, man, it's hard to say. So next week, I heard they're playing the Bears, which
Yeah,
honestly, at this point, is battle of probably the two worst teams in the league. So if they don't get their act right to get to the Bears, it might be time to start thinking about maybe starting fresh. I know the defensive coordinator, like they said, he's been under the hot seat ever since that 70-point performance. And if they give up, I don't know, maybe more than 20 points to the Bears, then he might have to go because the Bears offense looked almost just as bad, even worse maybe against the Chiefs. And obviously the Chiefs are a good team, but this Bears team has been really, really bad to start the season. Justin Fields been running for his life and he's just not accurate. I don't know if I blame him or blame the coaching, but it's not a good look for the Bears at all. And it's been like that for a long number of years, unfortunately, for that organization. But I really do think the Broncos need to get a win against the Bears for sure. That's like a must-win game for them. If that doesn't happen, they need to kind of start thinking about rebuilding or something.
I mean, when it comes to Russell Wilson, we've been making fun of him because Broncos country, let's ride, and all the shenanigans he's
Right,
been doing.
right.
I don't think it's helping the team at all.
Mhm.
I haven't seen him promoting himself this season. I think he's trying
Right.
to make it, make it more serious. He's trying to
Mhm.
not have fun, but that's not working.
Right.
So I hope the best for the Russell Wilson. I hope because when he was in Super Bowl,
Mhm.
that was my favorite time of being a Russell Wilson fan because
Right,
everyone
right.
loves him. But now
Mhm.
he's more like a Mr. Unlimited joke.
Right,
So
right.
I just want the best for him.
Yeah, it's kind of sad to see the situation, especially with Sean Payton, the new coach. I know last year was pretty bad, so they kind of brought in a former Super Bowl champion head coach with Sean Payton, obviously coached Drew Brees for a long time. And I guess the notion was that he would obviously try to fix what's going on and try to get this team back to playoff contention. And what happened was that in the beginning of the season, if you remember, he was really blasting Nathaniel Hackett for his job with
Yeah,
the Broncos last season, who's now, I think, the Jets offensive coordinator. So what was pretty ironic was how he blasted him for having such a terrible performance with the Broncos, but giving up 70 points in just the third game isn't a good look. So it's just the irony is just kind of funny at the end of the day, but I just feel bad to see kind of how the mighty have fallen. But I don't know. Hopefully they can figure it out. I mean, if you don't figure it out against the Bears, it's kind of that's probably the last point of attack
I
for them. So hopefully something happens. Hopefully they get a win.
I do want to say that they still have a a elite. I'm gonna say it. They still have an elite quarterback of Russell Wilson. But
Hmm.
as for the Jets, I cannot say that for myself.
Oh boy.
So
Yeah, yeah, obviously big topic.
big topic in
Big
mind. I
topic.
think it's the biggest
Mhm.
topic in NFL. Because there was so much hype in the offseason,
Oh
hard
yeah.
knocks, the New York
Dude, the
Jets.
hard knocks, the talking, the preseason. Aaron Rodgers was, I can't remember who he was playing against him. It was a Giants player, and then he was saying, I forgot exactly what he said. It was
He's
something along the lines of showing respect or something. And the guy's like, I don't even know who you are. And I was like, dang, man. Aaron
dude.
Rodgers is fired up for the season. He looks ready. He looks ready to perform. Finally ready to go back to Super Bowl. But yeah,
He carried the American flag to MetLife
yes, sir.
Stadium. I was like, dude, this is the savior of the Jets for the next 2 years. We might make it to the playoffs. We'll make it to the Super
Right.
Bowl. We're gonna win the Super Bowl. But
Mm-hmm.
4 plays later, bam, 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 bam. He tore his Achilles. Season's over. That's what the whole Jets
Mm-hmm.
fans are thinking.
Mm-hmm.
But let's go to week 3 of the Jets. They face the rivalry, the Patriots,
Yeah,
and
yeah. If you want to call it a rivalry, I think it's what 15 straight against the Jets now.
about
So
that, yeah,
that's tough, man.
yeah,
Honestly,
they
it wasn't a blowout though. I mean, the Jets were in it to be honest. Their defense, I still think, is still pretty solid. It's just that quarterback, man. I don't know. Zach
that
Wilson, I just don't think is the answer moving forward.
he. I do want to say that Robert Saleh has been defending him
Mhm.
since
Right,
day
right,
one. I mean, that's
definitely.
where you got to do that because that's your
You
quarterback.
got
You
to
got to
do
give
it.
him
Yeah, you have to
you got to
do
give
that.
him you got to give him confidence. You got to bring him up, but he's not he's not playing 100%, or I don't know what he's doing, to be honest.
Mhm. Right,
Uh,
right.
freaking Hall of Famer Broadway Joe Namath said he is disgusting.
Hmm.
I'm like, if he says it, then it must be true. But let's look at the game stats for week 3 of the Jets against the Patriots. It was 15-10. We lost to that.
Hmm.
Jets, Zach Wilson made 157 yards. That's pretty good
Hmm.
with no touchdown. Brees Hall only made 18 yards.
Hmm.
Disrespectful. Alan Lazard, 3 receptions, 39 yards.
Hmm.
Garrett Wilson, 5 receptions, 48 yards. It's they're not solid numbers, but we could have done
Right,
more.
right. Right. And what's kind of perplexing to me is the run game, especially with now with obviously Brees Hall just coming back from an injury, but also with the addition of Dalvin Cook. It just seems like either they're not running the ball well, or obviously I think the offensive line is another big issue where they're not performing up to their standards as well. I know they got a lot of blame for the injury to Aaron Rodgers because they weren't able to protect him. But also the run game is the two have I think Brees Hall and Dalvin Cook are still pretty solid running backs too. Two of the pretty top, at least top 10, maybe top 15 duos in the league for running backs. But with the way the offensive line is playing, they just really can't get anything going. So I think that's a big X factor moving forward in the season and moving, especially in the offseason, to really find some help on that offensive line because it'll make life difficult for any quarterback, especially one that's trying to progress with Zach Wilson. So there needs to be something done with that offensive line for sure, moving forward.
They I don't know if I've been seeing it correctly, but they're not doing any like screen passes. They're not doing any creative with
Hmm.
the offense of the running game. They
Right.
got to do something, and also give it to Garrett Wilson, man. He's a
Mhm.
stud.
He is, man.
He's a if he was in a different team, if he was Mahomes, oh my
Oh
God,
my God.
imagine
Ooh.
Mahomes and Garrett Wilson.
Ooh.
That's your replacement for Tyreek Hill in Kansas
Yeah.
City Chiefs.
Garrett Wilson is going off, man. That touchdown he had last, what was it, week 1 against the Bills, the one-handed one?
Oh,
Oof,
that was great.
that was just crazy. Yeah, he's definitely up there. I think he's only gonna get better from here. But yeah, going back to the quarterback situation, like obviously of the big hype on Aaron Rodgers, obviously four-time MVP, going to the New York Jets in a team that's really, I think, well suited for him to be successful. And now that you're going back to Zach Wilson, obviously, like you mentioned, I think Robert Saleh has a duty to kind of hype up the quarterback already there and make sure that he's well feeling comfortable because you kind of have to do that. You can't just blame your quarterback for all the problems because you don't want to demoralize him. But at the same time, I just think that the Jets should be open to looking at different options. I know they just recently signed Trevor Siemian to their squad. I don't know how much of a big factor that plays, but I know there have been other quarterbacks in the mix. Recently, you've probably seen Colin Kaepernick actually write a whole letter to the NFL or to the Jets organization about wanting to join the practice squad and maybe putting in some reps in there. How do you feel about the Kaepernick situation? Do you think he has a chance, or do you think it's just another another year of Kaepernick trying to get into NFL, nothing really happens?
So my whole situation on that is, I hope so, but most
Mhm.
likely no, because if you remember back in, I want to say 2019, remember they NFL gave him like a training scout, open just
Right,
for
right.
him, but he didn't make it. He didn't make his
Mhm.
own camp.
Yeah, I
So
think you went to high school, right, or something like that.
yeah, so that I think that's the reason why they're not really pursuing him. But if he didn't made it on time or had a different other plan, but if he made it on time, he would be signed by now.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I think so.
but thinking Colin Kaepernick into the Jets, I'm thinking when he was winning when he's in the Super Bowl with 49ers. I
Mhm.
remember how his gameplay was. Was it more running game or
Yeah, I think it was a bit of both. He definitely had a run game to him, but I still think he's a pretty accurate passer. So he definitely had multi-dimensional player. But it's hard to say after all these years. It's been, I think, almost over 6 years now since he's been in the NFL. It's hard to really understand or comprehend of if he's like fully fit and NFL ready shape. I know he says he is, but for a person that hasn't played in the NFL for 6 years to just come back and kind of save the Jets season, I'm just not sure if he's the answer for any team moving forward. It's really hard to say. I would like to see him maybe have a chance at the training camp or maybe in the practice squad. But like you mentioned, with the controversy around him and what happened at the NFL a few years ago, where he changed his location for his practice, for his tryouts, it's just I
yeah?
don't think it's something that's going to happen. I know he's been in the talks for several years. Anytime a quarterback goes down, there've always been talks of Kaepernick coming back, but it hasn't really materialized for the past 6 years. And I just don't think it'll happen anytime soon at this point.
Yeah, that's Colin Kaepernick. I can see. I mean, if he wants to get back to the NFL, he doesn't have to go to the NFL. Go to the XFL and then get to the NFL to show them that
Right,
you're
right,
ready.
right.
Or the Canadian Football League. Go somewhere besides the NFL. It doesn't have to be
Hmm.
the NFL. Show us
Right,
that you
yeah.
can do it, and then come to the NFL.
Yeah,
But
definitely has to show that he's still in shape and still can do it. Because obviously it's been a long time since we've seen him on the field, so we don't really know what to expect from him.
he's
But
still
yeah.
yeah he's still young. I mean,
Mhm.
he's not Tom Brady, but he's
Yeah.
still he's still up there.
Right, right, definitely. And then I know there's other quarterbacks in the mix. I know people are saying about Tom Brady and Matt Ryan coming back. I think both of them are pretty uh, content with retirement or in the broadcast booth for Matt Ryan. Another interesting name that came up was Carson Wentz, who I don't
Yeah,
obviously he's really young still. And then people forget, but he was an MVP caliber player back in the Eagles in his early years. I think the season where they won the Super Bowl with Nick Foles, he was a starter for the majority of the season and was on track to win MVP until I believe he had a really bad injury at the end of the season,
he did.
which is a
Yeah,
torn ACL or torn Achilles, something like that. But he was on track to be MVP, so or at least one of the top three players for MVP that season. So he was playing really well. And then obviously the injury happened. Nick Foles came in, and then kind of Carson Wentz's career never really went forward from there after the injury. But he's a player, free agent that's been in the talks for the Jets. No, I don't know. I mean, like I said, former MVP caliber player. Obviously, I don't think he has that type of play level in him anymore. But perhaps to give him a try with the Jets to see what's going on, I don't think it could be the worst idea, especially the way Zach Wilson is playing. What do you think about Carson Wentz?
Carson Wentz, after that injury, he wasn't the same.
Mm,
But yeah, I can see
definitely.
him. I can see him back into the mix.
Mhm.
You said Matt Ryan. He looks like he's done. I don't want. Actually,
Yeah,
I
Matt
never
Ryan.
want Matt Ryan. He choked in
Mhm.
that Super Bowl. What the hell? I don't want him.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was tough.
and Tom Brady. That'd be pretty cool if Tom Brady joined. He did a little revenge against the Patriots, but he's done
Right.
too.
But yeah, I think he's done as well.
Yeah,
So yeah, right
Wentz.
now Carson Wentz probably the top person I can think of that's actually probably willing to go for the Jets. Now, other than that, I mean, there are rumors of also possibly trading for a backup quarterback in the league right now. I know there's a couple of players out there that are pretty solid backups. I mean, Gardner Minshew, the backup to the
Yeah,
Colts, actually won the game last week against the Ravens as a starter because Anthony Richardson was out with that concussion, and he led them to a win. So Gardner Minshew's up there. I know James Winston's backup Derek Carr in New Orleans. He's one of the options available. Possibly, I know Teddy Bridgewater is still there. So there's a couple of good backups out there that who knows that can really maybe do a better job than what Zach Wilson's at the moment. So there are a couple of options. I just don't know what the organization is looking at right now, especially with the way Robert Saleh is really leaning on Zach Wilson. So I just don't know what the answer is. I just don't think it's Zach Wilson moving forward. I don't think he'll be the answer to get them into the playoffs.
yeah. I don't see him in the Jets next year because remember last year when Mike White took over, the
Hmm.
whole team was wearing Mike White shirts.
Right,
So
right.
they
I
don't
remember that.
have. I don't know if it's like they're faking it, being friends with Zach Wilson, but the Zach is not the guy. I wish he
Yeah.
was because he's
Hmm.
from BYU.
Right,
He looked great,
right.
but
Number two pick, yeah.
number two pick, he. I wish he was the best, but he's not the best. Um,
Yeah, for sure.
I do.
Fortunately, the last two top picks for the Jets, Sam Darnold too was I think top three pick, right? I think he's with the
Yeah,
49ers now, but fortunately for both of them, it just didn't work out.
both didn't work out. Before Sam Darnold was Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's a is he a Hall of Famer? I'm not sure.
Right, Fitzpatrick, man, he has Hall of Fame moments for sure. I don't know if he's a Hall of
Yeah,
Famer.
yeah,
Definitely has some moments.
for sure. He almost led us to the playoffs, but he lost to the Bills that one game. But
Yep.
yeah, that's that's Zach Wilson. I do have some questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is Trevor Siemian the answer to the Jets this year?
Trevor Siemian, man, I don't know if he's the answer, but honestly, at this point, I would take a lot of quarterbacks over Zach Wilson. I would definitely want to see him play. Yeah, I would say put him in the practice squad for a bit and see how he does in workouts, especially during practice. And then I don't know if you put him in right away, obviously, but maybe I would give Zach Wilson maybe a couple of weeks to see how he progresses. But if I don't see any progression within the next 1 or 2, 3 weeks, I would definitely start considering maybe starting Trevor Siemian for a game or two and see how he does. And I mean, if he performs well, you never know. Maybe he's the answer moving forward. It just really depends on how he performs on the big stage. I haven't seen him play in a while. Uh, he was pretty mediocre at best when I did see him, especially with the Broncos. But
Yeah,
like I said, at this point, I really do think that a change from Zach Wilson is necessary just to because the team is just too talented to waste, man. You have good wide receivers, a good running back cast. Obviously, offensive line still needs work, but the defense is there. And I really think with a quarterback like pair like Aaron Rodgers, that team could definitely be a playoff contender, maybe even Super Bowl contender. I just think it's a wasted talent to just keep playing a quarterback that I don't think is suitable for the position. So definitely maybe moving forward to see how Zach Wilson progresses against the next couple of games. If nothing gets better, I definitely say give Trevor Siemian a shot, or even someone else who's willing to play, and see how they do from there. I think
dude.
the Jets
Yeah,
are playing the Chiefs this Sunday, actually Sunday Night Football.
yeah.
So that's definitely not. Yeah,
I was about to say that we were facing the freaking Kansas City Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes and
yeah.
Kelsey with Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is going to be in the on the field going
Taylor
crazy.
Swift, man. Yeah,
What's your
all
thoughts
I've been
on
seeing.
their couple? Um, what's your thoughts
Yeah,
on
I know
Kelsey
it's
and
pretty
Taylor
big
Swift?
for them. I mean, I think Travis Kelce's like jersey sales rose what like 400%
I saw
ever
that.
since Taylor Swift attended the game or something like that. So the Swifties have been at it. They've been adamant about supporting the Chiefs. I feel like I just hope he doesn't break up with her because if they do, there's gonna have 200 million ex Kansas City haters now on his back. So he better be careful what he does.
This is my prediction here. This
Hmm.
Sunday night, prime time, by the way. We're supposed to
Prime
have
time.
5 primetime games with Aaron Rodgers, and this is not gonna happen. Anyways, the Jets are gonna face the Chiefs, and my prediction is we're gonna see Taylor Swift crying when the Kansas City Chiefs loses to the Jets.
No,
That is my bold prediction.
that is bold, bold, son.
Because
Bold, bold
dude,
prediction of the year.
anything could happen. Dallas Cowboys lost to Arizona.
True. That is
Anything can
true. That
happen.
is anything can definitely happen. That is true. It's just the Chiefs have been rolling the last couple of weeks, so we'll see, man. It's a bold prediction.
That's it's
Zach
on
Wilson's gonna have to play the game of his life, but we'll see. We'll see.
NBC prime time. I do have another question. Some other questions.
Go ahead, man.
Why the hell did Mac Jones smack Sauce Gardner's in the nuts?
Oh man, that got me cracking up when I heard about that. It was funny that after that he even posted like I think a video online about to make sure that he has proof so he doesn't get fined or something. So man, I don't know if Mac Jones meant it or he did it by accident or whatever, but honestly he had me cracking up, but Mac Jones better watch out, man. They're
Did
coming
he
for him now. They got target on his back for that.
did he grab it, or did like a backhand?
Man, I didn't really watch the entire video and it was kind of hard to see. I think it was kind of a backhand though. But Mac Jones better be careful, man. That's kind of if
Th-
hopefully it's not a dirty play or anything like that, but
that
it had me
that
cracking up.
Yeah, that reminds me of when some weird plays like that. Remember when Miles Garrett hit Rudolph, the quarterback for Steelers, with his helmet?
Yeah, yeah,
So
that was pretty up there.
I'll say I'll say that one is pretty crazy. But another question here is, if the Jets lose to the Chiefs or even Broncos in 2 weeks, also that's a crazy game by the way. Broncos,
Mhm.
Jets, with all the Anthony Hackett, Sean Payton thing.
Definitely down the Hackett, yeah.
Will the Jets locker implode?
So honestly, the Chiefs is a pretty big game. I don't think it's a big it's an implosion for losing to them. Now, moving forward, if they do lose to the Broncos, especially in bad fashion, I do think that's a bad look. And I think after that point, it kind of goes back to the quarterback situation, where we're going back to Zach Wilson and trying to see if he's the answer moving forward, and if he performs really badly the next two games, I think after the Broncos game is really at a time where Robert Saleh has to take a look and see, can I see myself winning with this quarterback moving forward? And after the Broncos game, I really think it's the time to decide whether we keep or the Jets keep Zach Wilson moving forward or they kind of go in a different direction. I think that's that point where you have to make a decision. Because if you don't, then it's gonna be another year in the playoff without the playoffs, man. It's been what, 2010? Longest playoff
Uh,
drought in the NFL.
yeah, it's been about
Yeah,
2010 with
that's pretty
Rex
tough, man.
Ryan. Yeah, with Rex Ryan and Mark Sanchez. That was the last time. The Buff
Yeah, yeah.
fumble.
So
Everyone remembers that.
definitely, man. It
What?
feels like just curse, man. Every year
What?
something goes wrong.
Yeah, I know. Where were you during the Buff fumble?
Where was that? What year was that? 2010?
I think 2011.
2011. Man, I think I was still back in Florida at the time. What was I in sixth grade? Something like that.
Uh,
Some middle school or something, man.
hmm
It's been a long, long time. Thankfully, my team hasn't had to suffer that long. But
Well,
yeah,
yeah. Well, I do remember your Miami in 2008. Didn't win any game until the last week.
right, right. I mean, technically, we still have a really long playoff win drought. We haven't won a playoff game since maybe around that time. It's definitely before Ryan Tannehill got there. So I
Yeah.
don't even remember the quarterback before that, but it's been a while since we had our last playoff win. So hopefully we can end that streak this season. Still waiting on that one. But yeah, I mean, hopefully they figured it out, the Jets, you know. I just really think it's the quarterback and the offensive line. If they can figure out something in that position, even get somebody mediocre or something that can kind of just stabilize them until Rodgers comes back next season, maybe, and then they can kind of go forward in that Super Bowl hopes. I did hear a rumor of Roger potentially coming back in the playoffs in the late playoff push if they make it that far. I still think that's a little far fetched considering he did have a fully torn Achilles, but that would be pretty crazy if he comes back in the in the playoffs and kind of leads them to the Super Bowl. But again, they have to make it that far in the first place, so that's kind
I
of the
can,
big question mark right now.
I mean, I can see them in the wild card, but if Rodgers comes back during the wild card and they make it to the Super Bowl, this is like a freaking movie then.
Dude, that'll be insane. That'll be really crazy. I just hope that Rodgers doesn't come back too early where he re-injures himself and is not fully healthy to take the field. So I just hope he comes back prepared and
Yeah,
doesn't rush himself to anything. So that at least he can be fully healthy for next season. We don't want to risk his health for next season.
definitely. And
So as long as
it's
he's fully healthy, I can see him in the playoffs.
definitely. It's crazy because the Jets put all their eggs in the basket with Aaron Rodgers and never had
Oh
like a
yeah.
backup.
Right, right.
And then
I
that
mean, and you don't
happened.
really expect it at that point because Rodgers hasn't had like a huge history of injuries going
No,
back to his Green Bay Packers days. I mean, he had injuries here and there, but I don't remember him ever having like a full season where he's injured completely. Uh, at least from not far I can remember, I don't remember him having like a fully torn Achilles or ACL like that for a long time. With his entire Green Bay Packers career, he's been pretty consistent. Been the starting quarterback for almost every game since he was drafted, or at least he started taking over Brett Favre. So it's pretty sad to see the situation. I mean, I don't think anybody really expected it to happen. Then a lot of it also people are saying talking about that artificial turf situation
hmm
about a lot of Jets players under David Bakhtiari, former Aaron Rodgers teammate and the Packers, talked about artificial turf is messing up the league and how it's causing some injuries to go on. So I know that's a big debate moving forward in the NFL to see how they're going to do about that. But yeah, they did put all their eggs in the basket, and like he's not going to be gone next year. He should still be back, and I do think he'll be fully recovered and ready to go. But it's just going to be after a season of question marks for now. Just kind of had to roll with it, flow, and see how it goes with Zach Wilson, whichever quarterback is moving forward.
definitely. Yeah, when it comes to the grass, turf, are all teams have like artificial turf or is it real grass?
I don't. I'm not sure if it's all the teams. I think it's some of them. It just depends on the
Yeah.
stadium. But
Mm,
yeah, I do know that there was a push for artificial turf in the past, but now it's kind of backfiring due to the injuries. And I think they're going to look at the data and the statistics to see how relevant the artificial turf is to the injuries itself. But from what we've seen so far, especially with the Aaron Rodgers injury, I do think there is some type of correlation. So I think the NFL really has to take a look at that and decide the best thing moving forward to make sure they aren't causing more unnecessary harm to their players than they already are.
definitely. Uh, I do have one last question. It might be a
Yeah.
disgusting question.
Uh,
Why did Bill Belichick put his challenge flag in his sock? Do you saw
did you see
that?
the video of where he just grabbed it and smacked it on the floor right in front
I
of the
saw
referee?
that.
That had me cracking up. Bro. Bill Belichick is he's one of a kind person, man. You know, he does things his own way, and you can't really question him for it.
I guess
But
not.
even he was on the hype for the Travis Kelsey and the Taylor Swift man, or that couple. So it looks like even they got Bill Belichick on it too. So you know, all time great coach. But he's a one of a kind character. That's all I can say. Pretty unique character. Always expect the unexpected to Bill Belichick.
Yeah, he ruined the Jets for the longest time. He needs to
I think he
stop.
ruined the AFC East, man, for that time.
Oh man,
Long couple of years, man. But hey, I don't think it's the same. It's not the same dynasty anymore. Kind of
it's not.
working their way up, but we'll see how it goes with
It's
Mac
not.
Jones. Yeah.
I did make a bet with some of my friends
Hmm.
that let me pull up here. My bold prediction for the NFL
Hmm.
season: the New
Bold,
York
bold prediction.
Jets will make the playoffs and play in the wildcard weekend. If that doesn't
Mm.
happen, I'll go on Instagram Live and run in my fancy suit without pants on my street.
Oh boy, man, playing
So
fire,
yeah,
playing a
so
fire. I
that
like it.
yeah, I'm making that bold because it's not gonna happen because they're gonna make the wild card. That's not gonna happen. But if it happens, which is not gonna happen, I'm
Uh-huh.
gonna run in the street in the cold. You know, in January it's gonna snow usually.
Oh yeah. Now I'm curious. Did you make this bet before Aaron Rodgers got hurt or after?
I made it this morning.
Oh, okay. So you're pretty confident. Okay. I
Yeah,
like the confidence. I like
my friend
confidence.
my friends say because I always say anything can happen. I always tell them ACH, ACH. anything can happen in
That is
football.
true. That is true. For sure.
And
For sure.
and they're like, yeah, prove it. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna prove it.
Well, I hope for your sake, man. I hope it's true. Uh, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, like I said, it's really depending on the quarterback situation. I think that's really the big point with the Jets right now. Just who plays and can they perform at an efficient enough level so the team can get there. If it's not Zach Wilson, well, hopefully someone else. But I don't think it's a far-fetched idea to see them not make the playoffs or not make the wild card round. But I expect better quarterback play for sure. Because what's been going on for the past few weeks cannot happen, especially with the better teams like the Chiefs, especially with the Bills, man. I know they did win week 1 in New York, but they've been playing pretty well last few weeks. Josh Allen looked back to his normal self, so we'll see. But for your sake, man, I hope it's true.
I hope so too, man. Well, that is it for this episode. Thank you for thank you for being here, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no
Uh,
problem. Thanks for having me, man.
yeah, where can they find you on like socials or stuff like that?
Yeah, I'm just really on Instagram at me at Misbah G6. But other than that, just hanging around, bro. Rooting for the 305, Miami Dolphins. Let's go. Hopefully, this is the year we finally get back to the Super Bowl, man.
Miami Jets Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't think that's possible, but
Oh,
seen crazier things.
I know Usher will be there.
Oh yeah, I wonder who's gonna bring out. It'd be crazy if he brings out Taylor Swift as a guest surprise and can't Travis Kelce's there.
Uh,
Man, that would be insane. But I
I
really
know.
don't want him to be back in the Super Bowl, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean Ludacris will be there. Lil Jon will be there. We know that.
For sure, for sure. It's in Vegas too.
Is
Maybe
it?
a lot of
Oh,
people will
right.
be there for sure.
Well, we'll see. Well, till then, I don't know how to end this. What's the phrase you usually say?
Hey, go Dolphins, man. That's all I can say.
All right, go Dolphins then. No, go Jets.
Bing bang.